do it live. Okay. Well, do it live. I'll write it and we'll do it live.
So to get that perfect barbecue, you use wood. Are you sure it's safe? Whatever. We put the lighter fluid on, strike the match, and oh! Should we call the fire department? That might be a good idea.
Hey, good evening, and welcome to the Really Big Barbecue Central Show. A show that talks about mostly barbecue and grilling type items. We originate from the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame city of Cleveland, Ohio. Yes, the barbecue capital of the North Coast. I am your program host, Greg Rempe. Happy to have you here on your Tuesday. Had to adjust the color there on the camera. Not sure what happened. If you want to jump in on the show tonight with a phone call or an email, here's how you do that.
You can get in touch with the show by calling 216-220-0966. Email Greg at the BBQCentralShow.com. On the Twitter and Instagrams at BBQ Central Show.
Anything else you want to find out about the show can be found at the main website, thebbqcentralshow.com. And here's what's happening, in case you didn't get the newsletter a little bit earlier this afternoon. Coming up in about 12 minutes from now, if you didn't know, the 2019 Jack Daniel's World Championship Barbecue Cook-Off took place over the weekend, and 2019 now has a brand new world grand champion. He is known as Travis Clark of Clark Crew Barbecue Team. That's right. And he'll be joining us in just a little bit to recap the weekend. We'll also hit him up on some information in regards to opening up his barbecue restaurant that he has going on. He also has a line of rubs and sauces that are going out, so lots to talk about with Travis, not the least of which is his cementing of himself in barbecue history with the win this past weekend at Jack Daniel's. Then we will move to 35 past the hour, where we efforted later in the summer, August, a fellow by the name of Craig Barr. You might remember the name, at least here on this show, as the guy that decided he was going to take a stand against Popeye's chicken, and specifically the very popular barbecue, or the fried chicken sandwich that just went off the wall in popularity. He was chasing around the town, cracked a rim, was receiving some verbal lambastes from his pals, and he decided that enough was enough. He has property damage. There was not enough supply to meet the demand, and somebody was going to have to stand up for everybody else that was getting shafted out of the chicken sandwich from Popeye, so he took him to court, and he filed a suit, and lo and behold, as of yesterday, that suit is going to trial, believe it or not. So through efforting most of the day, we have, with the help of Steve Ray from Ooltewah, Tennessee, lined up none other than first-timer to the show, and no, I'm not kidding, Craig Barr will be giving his side of the suit and story. Then we will move to the second hour, where we will find a visit from the new CEO of Kansas City Barbecue Society, not brand new anymore. Of course, you remember we broke all of that news right here on this show a couple months ago, but now she's in the seat for the last handful of months, and we're going to talk to her about state of KCBS and how the house was left as she was picking up the reins and starting to run with it. We'll also talk about year-end stuff and what the outlook for 2020 might be in regards to both a competition sense and a membership sense. You know, one of my questions has always been, if you're not a cook of KCBS, what's the benefit of being a member? Why would I want to be a member? So we'll talk to her about that as well. Rounding out the show at 10:35 tonight, none other than a Barbecue Central Show guest Hall of Famer, and someone who needs rare an introduction. Derek Riches from DerekRiches.com, and we have the Master-Built charcoal gravity-fed smoker to talk about, amongst other items. So there you have it, 216-220-0966. Greg at thebbqcentralshow.com. Travis Clark coming up. Craig Barr after that. Emily Detweiler, 14 past 10. And 35 past the hour to close it out, Derek Riches. That's 35 past 10. Don't forget, you can follow me socially at BBQ Central Show on Instagram and Twitter / BBQ Central Show on Facebook. All right, here you go. I promise this.
A Barbecue Central Show exclusive news update.
Greg Rempe reporting from the breaking news desk here in Cleveland, Ohio. And if you follow me on Twitter, you know that I was teasing it all yesterday. And you've seen it floated out on social media, especially the tweeter. The saga of who is Pitmaster Ramon. This is the older gent you see pictured on the Subway commercials for the naturally smoked beef brisket sandwich. Last week on the show, I asked the embedded correspondent panel if they had any idea who Ramon was, or if it was even a real person. Many thought it was just a marketing gimmick of some sort. They just went and grabbed an image off of Google and stuck it up there, what have you. Subway was not answering any of the questions on who this Ramon was. And there were plenty of people tagging and adding at-meing Subway with no success. People calling on me to run the work. But I am here to tell you with 100% assurity that Pitmaster Ramon is real. Confirmed. I was contacted through Twitter DM by one of the most respected and long-standing, in good name, I might add, names in the barbecue business. And I will call him my old trusted source in barbecue. My source personally knows Ramon Gonzalez. That's his government. Ramon is one of the pitmasters for a company called Sadler's Smokehouse, which is located in East Texas. And they are the ones, Sadler's, making the brisket for Subway. So, to all those in the social media landscape who are asking about Ramon, and is Ramon real, and hashtag free Ramon, and let's help Ramon take down the picture of Ramon, there was a lot of confusion circling and spinning around this Ramon. But I'm here to tell you, and you heard it here first, that Pitmaster Ramon is real. He is cooking brisket for Subway and probably other companies as well. I mean, Sadler's evidently is a very huge operation. And he has a last name, Gonzalez. Now, don't try to say out there in the tweeter world that you got the scoop and now you're running out with it. Ramon is real. I can confirm. He's got a last name, blah, blah, blah. Don't say that you got the scoop or that you were first, because you weren't. This show, the Barbecue Central Show, continues to break the most important news in the barbecue industry today. No, we're not breaking news about health and disease cures, not about plant-based proteins, not about politics and scandals or sports and who's going to win the World Series. I mean, who gives a crap? No. We break the important news, like finding out if Ramon Gonzalez is real or not. And I am here to tell you he is 100% legit real person on that picture. And rule number one of the show, especially when it comes to sources, is adhere to the highest standard. No names, please, but I'm telling you right now, if I gave up my source, you would not even second guess it for 1 second. Not 1 second. Also, in addition to Pitmaster Ramon Gonzalez, Popeyes has just revealed when the chicken sandwich is coming back out. And if you can't possibly wait any longer, I beg of you to wait, just a handful of days. Popeyes has said it will resume selling the fried chicken sandwich at its locations nationwide on Sunday, November 3rd. A mere few days away, the same date as National Sandwich Day, because every day in this country has a national day. I think today was National Cats Day, if you can believe it or not. And while that's a fitting day to relaunch the long-awaited menu item, Popeyes is also using the date to troll Chick-fil-A, which is famously closed on Sundays. Maybe the great chicken sandwich war of 2019 isn't over just yet, but that remains to be seen. But what's almost certain is that fried chicken sandwich mania is about to come back in full force. We'll probably talk to Craig Barr about that here in about 35, 40 minutes. Travis Clark is up next. I'll talk to you quickly about Green Mountain Grills, one of the most hotly awaited Christmas items on the lists of live fire cooks out there today. They love pellets. Everybody loves pellets. One of the hottest growing niches in the industry. And Green Mountain Grills is ready to accommodate with a couple different product lines. All the models are the same. You have Jim Bowie, you have Daniel Boone, both in the Prime line and in the Classic line. You also have Davy Crockett, which is that tailgater or mobile unit. That one does not have a Prime or Classic line. It's just beautiful all by itself in its compact nature, its ability to cook a tremendous amount of food, getting that wood-fired pellet taste. And if you don't have access to a traditional power outlet, you can just plug it right into the 12-volt adapter in your car. Now, the bigger models, the Davy Crockett, the Daniel Boone and the Jim Bowie, you have the options. Prime line, a little bit more robust chassis and build. You have the peek-in windows in the cooking chamber, and then the pellet hopper. 2 internal meat probes instead of 1. 12-volt technology powering that Prime line. But if it doesn't matter to you, it's not, one isn't bigger than the other, Prime line versus Classic, so same size regardless. If you want to save a few bucks, you still want Wi-Fi technology, go for the Classic line. I have 2 of them. Those bigger models, also, you can sub out the guts, get that pizza oven insert, and it is a pizza party every day of the week. And you can get outside of the box. You don't want to cook pizza? Fire it up, get it hot. You can sear steak in that thing, or chicken, or fish, you name it. So many options with that pizza oven aside from pizza, although that's where it shines. GreenMountainGrills.com. That's GreenMountainGrills.com. I was in communications with Jason Baker here over the last couple days. He'll be coming on before the end of the year with some major announcements as they start to push some new things happening at the beginning of 2020. Again, that's GreenMountainGrills.com. GreenMountainGrills.com. Travis Clark, Jack Daniels, Grand Champ, coming up next. Stick around. We'll be right back.
Broadcasting live from the BBQ Central Show studios in Cleveland, Ohio. You're listening to the BBQ Central Show. Once again, here's your host, Greg Rempe.
This portion of the show being brought to you by Butcher's Barbecue, makers of award-winning injections, marinades, rubs, seasonings, barbecue sauces, grilling oils. All the Butcher Barbecue products tested on that competition circuit, as well as in backyards worldwide. Be the pitmaster of a neighborhood and visit butcherbbq.com to stock up now. Butcher's Barbecue. Always trust your butcher. Hey, my first guest tonight, by all accounts, perhaps one of the best competition cooks to ever light a pit. A 2-time KCBS Team of the Year winner. The individual contest wins are too numerous to count, quite frankly. There isn't much he hasn't won at this point. And he hasn't been doing it all that long either since 2013. This past weekend, he had Jack Daniels World Barbecue Grand Champ to the pile of awards. Aside from the competition stuff, he's busy getting a barbecue restaurant off the ground, a rub and sauce business off the ground. Pretty busy guy, to say the least. So let's race to the hotline without any further ado. And welcome back, friend of the show, Travis Clark. Hey, Trav.
How you doing?
I'm absolutely fabulous. I mean, you are perhaps one of the busiest men in barbecue right now, right?
It sure feels like I am. If I'm not the busiest, I feel bad for some other guys.
Yeah, that's right. Come out of the woodwork, people that are busier than Travis, because we'd love to know your names and talk to you. Travis, I want to talk to you about this past weekend, of course, and the win, but I think there is something that's really important to make sure that everyone knows about Clark Crew and this year's Jack Daniels specifically. 2019 marks the 5th time Clark Crew has auto qualified for this event, which, unless I'm mistaken, you're probably the only one that actually holds that honor at this point. And we'll talk about winning and feeling good and all that stuff here in a second. But from a competition perspective and a consistency perspective and a time commitment and expense perspective, to win the 7 that is required for the auto bid one time in a pitmaster's career is certainly a feat, but to do it 5 years in a row is something perhaps we might not ever see again. So what does that accomplishment mean to you and the team to auto 5 years in a row?
You know, it means more to me personally, than winning the whole contest.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to make that sound bad. I mean, winning that contest is a big deal, but that, to me, that's a 5-year commitment. You know, just says something about the run that we've had and how hard that we've worked, you know, all season. You know, it just means the world to me. You know, they told me I was the only one to do it 5 years in a row. I don't know if there's other people who have done it 5 times. I mean, but they told me we were the only ones that had done it that. So that was, you know, to hear that was pretty cool.
I mean, I certainly have heard a number of folks that have been down to the Jack numerous times, but
sure,
to understand that in order to auto qualify, you have to win 7 grand championships in a designated period of time in a calendar year. And so that, I mean, I'm no mathematician, but I think that's 35 grand championships. So at the worst of Travis Clark's career, he's won 35 grand championships. I mean, it's way more than that, obviously, but that in itself is a pretty accomplishing feat.
Yeah, it's got to be, you know, 35 that are 25 teams or more. You know, it can't you can't be dodging people and go cooking little county fairs. You know, you gotta cook the big ones to do it. But it's, you know, I don't know. To me, it's a hell of an accomplishment and one of the things that I'm probably most proud of anything.
When you look back at the career that you've had, as I mentioned in the open, 2-time KCBS Team of the Year winner, and there was only an off year that separated those Team of the Year wins, so you did it 2 out of 3 years. You have these numbers of 5 autos to the Jack. I mean, I think the key to any successful pitmaster, and you hear it time and time again here on this show, is consistency, but it appears that you're probably the poster child for, if you are consistent, these are the type of things that can happen.
Yeah, I've said 100 times, I don't think I'm the best barbecue cook in the world by any means, but I do think I'm the most consistent. You know, and I mean, numbers don't lie. People can say who they think the best. I mean, I'll still tell you to this day, I think Darren's the best cook there is. But consistency, I mean, I've got the numbers to back that up, and that's, you know, that's just always been me, and maybe a fault on some things to me, is consistency wins. I've always said that from day one.
Travis Clark joining me here on the show. All right, Travis, so let's talk about this past weekend. Lynchburg, Virginia, Lynchburg, Tennessee, not necessarily close to a lot of folks. So when do you guys leave for the event, and when do you load in and all that stuff to get ready?
This was the first year that I believe the first year that I've got there on a Thursday. Typically, I'm the guy that rolls in on a Friday well after they tell you it's the cutoff to get there, because I've been just super busy. Every year I have to beg and plead with them and tell them, say, look, it's going to be late when I get down there. And they're like, okay, but I'm not supposed to. And this year we actually got there on Thursday evening, which was kind of nice. A lot of it was really nice because we got there before all the rain really started and got set up. So that was nice to take it in a little more. Unfortunately, all my family couldn't go this time. So Coop had football, so Jen stayed back and watched him also. The plan was everybody to go. It just didn't work out. But we got down there, got set up, and kind of enjoyed it. It gave us a little more time.
Were you more by yourself than normal then?
No, I've been up on this concrete slab down there every year except like my first year there, and I really like it down there. And you know, it's kind of a little bit. It's between where the majority of your teams are and turn-ins, but you're offset off there a little bit. But I like being there, especially when it rains. You don't get all muddy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no doubt. I heard it gets pretty muddy out there when it rains, for sure.
Yeah.
Do you take
yeah.
part in any of the ancillary stuff, or are you just there to cook the main barbecue portion?
So we turn in sauce, and Kim did dessert, kind of spur of the moment this year. We didn't take in any of the other stuff. I love, I cooked next to my friend JD Henley, and they were cooking their steaks and everything next to them. So I was messing with them and kind of hanging out while they were doing theirs, which was fun. And I gave him a hard time about it. I was telling him he needed to cook their quail a little more and all that stuff. And I told him, I said, when you win that thing, I said, I expect you to grab that mic. Thank you, Travis. And he won. And he got back. I said, what the hell? You didn't grab the mic. And he said, they wouldn't give it to me. So,
are you a secret quail cooker, Trav?
You don't grow up in Southwest Kansas and not know how to cook pheasant and quail. It's kind of a staple, He did a hell of a job, boy. They cooked some great looking steaks and that. I mean, he had a great deal. I walked in the trailer and told my wife, I said, they're gonna freaking win that deal. I mean, and they did. And they deserved to. They did a hell of a job.
Trav, it used to be a pretty dominant topic on this show when we talked about the Jack, and that, of course, is the judging tent. And is there a lack of consistency in there, or a lack of experience, or is it just too diverse to really know what you're going to do? Is that having been there this many times in a row, do you concern yourself at all with that, or you just throw it to the side and put out your best product that you're going to do it, and if it sticks, it sticks?
I don't change. I don't really change what I do. I try to cook the same food. You always hear people say, you need to cook it more tender. That's what a inexperienced judge is. I don't really know how much inexperienced judges we have. There is some. I mean, I know some guys that never judged in their life get in to judge that thing and, be clueless. So that's there. But that being said, you get a lot of guys that do know a lot about it in there that cook it. And I've said before, it's a little tricky judging, I would say, for sure. You see that where you're getting 33s, 34s from everybody, and then a 27. You just chalk that up and say, well, you know what that was? Somebody that didn't know, because your food wasn't that way, but it happens. That being said, I don't think bad food would ever win the Jack Daniels. I think you got to have good food, and I think you'd be crazy to go down to the Jack Daniels and change your recipes and do something. You run what brung you. You got there doing something. I think if you went down there and you didn't score well, you'd look back and say, boy, I shouldn't have changed that. I made little changes, super cold outside this year. They're in a tent down there. I walked over there and seen how the wind was coming under there. Tells me I need to cook my brisket a little longer. You get it a little more tender. It's going to tighten up. You factor in what you can control, and all I can control is temperature. Carry it in a box form that's warm. I've seen half them teams turning their food in just carrying that styrofoam container. We carry ours in a warmer. We take a hot towel, I throw it up on my Jambo, get it hot, and I stick it in my insulated carrier and take it up there. So I know when my food goes down, it's as warm as it possibly can be, and that's all I can control. And you try to control those variables. It just surprised me. Some of those teams didn't do it. I watched teams set their box down and the tables before they get there. They open it up, and it's sitting there wide open. They're taking a look at it and everything, and then closing it down again to go put it up there. And I'm like, holy cow, make sure that's right in your warmest environment you can, then be careful taking it there.
Mm-hmm. Travis,
you see little things like that, and you think that's a couple points.
No doubt. Travis Clark breaking it down for us on this past weekend's Jack Daniels. This was the year to win, by the way, Travis, because unless I'm mistaken, last year the winner got $10,000. That was Dave Bosco, by the way. This year, $25,000 for the winner. Not too shabby for the payday, right?
Yeah, I had no idea they raised that too. And as they were calling categories, they're like, hey, this category's doubled. This category more than doubled, with certain calls. And we were sitting there, and man, when they announced that the GC was paying $25,000, I was like, damn. I had no idea. Reserve paid $10,000. That's what the whole thing paid last year. So that's awesome that they're putting that kind of money back into it. That's awesome.
Now, it's going to be hard to hide in tax time, so you're probably going to have to 1099 that one, unfortunately. Travis, let's yeah, no problem. You need those. So let's transition out of the huge win. By the way, that was the 31st Jack Daniels World Championship Barbecue Cook-Off, and Travis Clark is your reigning champion through next year. And by the way, you kind of automatically qualify to go right back again, so it's not 7, but it'll be 6 Jacks in a row that you automatically qualify to go back for. Are you going to try and do 7 anyway, or is it not even worth the hassle?
I would love to, but next year I don't anticipate. I think I'll cook 10 or less. So
Yep.
odds wise, I'd say that's probably not going to happen.
All right. So let's talk about perhaps why that might not be so many competitions on the schedule, which is probably the restaurant. Where are we at in the build out and the potential open, all that good stuff?
We are right there. We're in the process of training now. We started. Had all my managers for a while. They've gone through that. We started full on training Monday, yesterday. So we are in full mode there. We're probably three weeks away of being able to do a VIP night. And, obviously getting close to Thanksgiving here, we got to decide, we're going to open up the week before, the week of. We just have to see how it goes, waiting on a few final inspections. Things are looking really, really good. We got people in there every day, cleaning and re-cleaning again right now. So it's getting close, probably start hanging pictures and taking trophies up next week. It's getting there. It's exciting.
Travis, a lot of people that have gotten into this side of the business, or perhaps you've been able to counsel with. Outside of that, what have been the biggest hurdles that you didn't account for that you've run into?
The biggest hurdle as far as the restaurant itself has been the building. We got what we felt was a solid building. It was an old macaroni grill. It was a restaurant that was up and functional. And they told us, oh yeah, the equipment's good. We had people check it out, and they're like, yeah, it's functional. This is good. And then when time came, we had our own people checking it out. It wasn't. We started tearing walls down and doing things in there, and then ran into mold. Extra $100,000 of mold remediation. They're like, oh, we can paint it or do this, and we just wasn't going to do that. We just tore the stuff out and started over. It cost a lot more money than doing that. Mm-hmm. The roof was one of those things, and we went all out on that. When they gave us the options, and it was more than we thought. Just everything cost a lot more than what we thought. And the worst part about that is how that just pushes you back more and more in time. In hindsight, if you could fast forward to this, I'd have just built a brand new building. But by the time you find these things out, you're pretty deep into it. You got no choice. You just do your best and finish it. And honestly, the thing has turned out amazing. You just walk in the door, and I just walk in and go, wow. It's just, I've taken a lot of people through, and that seems to be the consensus when they walk in is damn and wow. It's just completely different. I did a lot of things that all my architects told me not to do. Pretty much everything they told me not to do, I did. They said, they had a little bar in there that held like 7 people in that corner. We moved it to the whole other end of the restaurant, blew out the back, put in garage doors, put in an ice rail bar, glycol tap system, did everything I could. There's $250,000 that they told me don't do, but I wanted it. It's just, we've done everything the way that we wanted to do it, to the point that I don't think I walk in there and really regret anything.
Yeah.
That was important.
Yeah. You don't want to
build a huge smokehouse. No, you don't really see that. We built a huge smokehouse off the front of the building and put glass garage doors all around that thing, so you can see everything we do. Got big Camelback smokers in there. Everybody told me don't use because it takes a lot more labor, but at the end of the day, I've won my world championships in brisket by cooking on an offset pit, and it's just a badass brisket, and that's what we chose to do. And it's is it smart? Probably not. Is it how I wanted it? It is. So it's rolling a dice.
Travis, from a consumer's experience, is this going to be what you would refer to as competition-style barbecue in a restaurant, or is it going to be more restaurant-style barbecue cooked Travis Clark's way?
I don't think I would call it competition barbecue. We're cooking. I think it's a blend. We're cooking Snake River Farms briskets in there every day.
Oh.
But we're not trimming them down and wrapping them in foil. We're cooking them and wrapping them in butcher paper. I could sit down and eat 2 pounds of this brisket and love it, and I don't want to take more than 3 bites of my competition brisket. It's just, in my opinion, it's way better. You want to eat it. We're taking ribs. I am individually wrapping every rack of ribs, but then we're going to take them and we're going to grill them off over a wood-fired Santa Maria grill. We're going to finish them different. But we're taking things from competition. But I wouldn't say this is competition food. And I think a lot of it's different than what most people do.
Where's the location at again, Trev?
It's right in the middle of Oklahoma City. It's 3510 Northwest Expressway. right in the middle of Oklahoma City. It's a real busy street in front of it. It's got 60,000 people a day drive right in front of it. You know, so it's what I love. It's a great location. We got people stopping by every day wanting to come in thinking it's open. You know, and it's hard to tell them no, but you know, everybody that walks in there like, wow, we were in there before. You wouldn't even know. It's amazing, and you know, and it really is. I can't wait to have you down to see it. It's going to be cool.
Rubs and sauce wise, are they up and available for sale? Or are you still tweaking on that?
Yeah. So we got our competition and our original sauce and our 5XL. You know, it's kind of my steak and burger rub. We've got those out there right now. I've had my spicy sauce here for a little while and just been toying around with it, and I really love it. And we're going to go ahead and start shipping that out this week. We've had a lot of people asking for it. I've toyed around with it on pork and went from my comp sauce to that just to see what it was like, and started popping off wins with it again. So either one of them are killing it on it. And I've let a few guys try it and use it. Just I've kind of kept it pretty low key. I guess you shouldn't. I mean, I guess you should throw it all out there. I just haven't. But we're gonna start shipping those out there, and then I'm gonna go ahead and release my barbecue rubs now that I'm pretty much done. I'm gonna go ahead and release them out to people probably within the next couple of weeks. I've got what I call my brisket rub and then my rib rub. It's, you know, I use it on chicken ribs and pork, and my brisket rub on that. And I've used it on pork also, but they're good. I've worked on them on a long time. Super happy with them, and I'm excited to get them out there.
Is it ClarkCrewBBQ.com website wise?
It is. It's ClarkCrewBarbecue.com. We're kind of doing a new website right now. It's up and you can see it on there. We're kind of gearing it more towards the restaurant. It was just for my competition team before. Mm-hmm. Now we're going to end up kind of having a tab there too, but when you pull it up, it'll be kind of geared more towards the restaurant. I'm going to work on putting out another website here pretty quick. I got barbecueclass.com that I'm going to allow some other people to host classes on and do them here at our facility. So that one will be out there before too long also.
Man, if he didn't have enough to do, he's going to open a restaurant, continue to market rubs and sauces, and most importantly, this evening, he is the 2019 Jack Daniel's World Barbecue Champion, Travis Clark from Clark Crew Barbecue. Travis, always appreciate the time, appreciate the recap, and man, I can't wait till that restaurant opens. I'm very excited to follow up with you and see how it's going.
Can't wait to have you down here. Hopefully it'll be sooner than later.
All right, Travis, thanks so much for coming on.
Thanks for having me on, Greg.
You got it. Take care. There he is. Travis Clark. Wow, I mean, few are, maybe not even few. Few are as successful as Travis Clark in the competition barbecue game. If we start going up and down what Travis has won, Jack Daniels, yes. American Royal, yes. Some of the competitions aren't even around anymore, or I'm sure he would have won those as well, like a Sam's Club or something like that. But from a number of contests won, I mean, it is absolutely mind-boggling. So congratulations to Travis Clark for knocking down yet another huge competition win. Right behind Travis Clark, by the way, was Tim Shear at Shake and Bake Barbecue. So two huge successful competition cooks finishing 1-2. Trav finished with a 705, I believe, and Tim was a couple points behind him. So high scores taking grand championships. And Travis is a busy guy now. Opening a restaurant, making the restaurant the way he wants it. And now we'll see how the whole deal proves out when it opens up here in the next 3, 4, 5 weeks. We'll see how that works out. Thanks again to Travis Clark. Craig Barr coming up out of the break. I'll talk to you quickly about Southside Market and Barbecue. Attention, folks in the business of barbecue. Established in 1882, Southside Market, the oldest barbecue joint in Texas. They've been owned and operated by the same family for 3 generations. They offer premium Central Texas barbecue products, slow smoked over real wood, shipping, distributing, manufacturing sausages for companies across the U.S. From food trucks to multi-chain restaurants, Southside Sausage can be on your menu as well. All meats processed in the on-site USDA-inspected facility. A trusted partner with a focus on quality and authenticity. Wholesale options are available. shipping nationwide via FedEx or through food service distribution channels like Cisco, U.S. Foods, and Martin Foods. Co-packaging capable from research and development to completion. We can follow your recipe or help you develop something brand new. Private label opportunities also available. Go to southsidemarket.com. That's southsidemarket.com. And when you're ordering all of your goodies, use code BBQ Central. That's BBQ Central for 10% off all of your online orders. This time, next time, all the time. 10% off when you use code BBQ Central. Popeye's Chicken. It's a lawsuit. It's Craig Barr, and it's coming up next. Stick around. I'll be right back.
Continuing to produce incredibly mediocre content in an exceptionally professional way. You're listening and watching the Barbecue Central Show. Once again, here's your host, Greg Rampey.
All right, thanks again to Travis Clark for joining me last segment. This portion of the Barbecue Central Show brought to you by cookandpellets.com. Your number one source for quality wood pellets from all your pellet-driven cookers. Visit cookandpellets.com for more information or to purchase. You can also visit amazon.com to purchase as well. Don't forget that the new Cooking Pellets app is getting ready for download. We'll talk to Chris Becker about that here, hopefully in the next few weeks or so. All right, folks, if you're a fan of this show, you're a fan of fried chicken as well. And, of course, nothing was more popular when it came to fried chicken sandwiches than the Popeye's fried chicken sandwich over the summer. And my next guest is taking Popeye's to court because he had some personal damage done to his vehicle trying to find one of these freaking sandwiches. We race to the hotline and welcome in first-timer to the show, Craig Barr. Craig, how are you, pal?
What's going on? Hey.
I'm doing
What's
absolutely
going on, y'all?
doing very well, my friend, and I appreciate you taking time out for the show here. So before we get in talking about the Popeye stuff, let's do a little quick background sketch on you, what you might do for a living, and if you're a Chattanooga general, somewhere you've grown up in Chattanooga area.
Actually, I'm from New York City, Manhattan.
Yeah.
I was in Tower 1 on the 76th floor, on the Morgan floor. I got out the building about 10:12, but
You're kidding.
I wear a gold pendant there, just sitting. No, I don't know if you knew that or not. Yeah, I was in Tower 1 on 76th floor, Morgan Stanley floor.
Wow.
Anyways, so I mean, I got no good story about heroism. You know, I helped an old lady. She held out on my arm going down the stairs. Now we got out about 10:12. It was just chaos, but I mean, I got a ferry off the island into Jersey. Right. But anyways, that was a long time ago. But yeah, I'm in Chattanooga now. Small business owner. I'm with Seabuy Dealer Services Group. I'm also an independent filmmaker, and we're actually getting ready to film a movie here locally real soon. First day on the job. So, you want to talk about the Popeye some more? Or what do you want to talk about tonight?
Yeah, we'll get to that here in a second. Like from a film perspective, do you have a genre that you're most akin to, or it doesn't really matter, just whatever the mood strikes you?
No, this is a comedy. It's based loosely on a true story. It's called First Day on the Job. Johnny's a split-town Italiano in New Jersey. He finds his first graveyard shift at a local gas station to be most cryptic. The last two are dealing with the New York Mafia, which later saves this very same gas station from being robbed by two punks. You'll meet Becky. Gosh, she's a sexy, hot, blonde, pot-smoking lady cop, and she strolls through off-duty. You'll have to a gas explosion, a dead body in the trunk. You'll witness Frank being fired tonight, yet Frank hasn't worked here in weeks. Now, don't be dazzled by all the subplots. The true plot lies within the last day of the job, which is ironically the first day of the job. And what about the missing money deposit bags from the safe, along with that fake ID in which Johnny got the job? But even if his name was Johnny, based loosely on the true story, running about 109 minutes.
Any anticipated release, or is that like a whole project, like months and months?
I filmed this back in '99 in 16 millimeter. I just back then it was real expensive to do a film. I mean, even 16 millimeter transferring to 35 to try to do something with it. But now it's all put on a talking piece of plastic, very cheap to do. I mean, basically studio and a little piece of plastic. So that really takes about away most of the budget for actually producing. Once you got a good story, some good substance with it, it doesn't lack subject matter, you put it together. But I'm real excited about this. We're going to refilm it. I got a friend I went to film school with. He's been in the business for a long time. He reached out to me through Facebook. We linked back up, and he's a senior distributor working with DIGI. He's got like a primary with box, and he's all excited about this movie, first day on the job. So we're going to put it together and put that out there, and we'll see how it does,
Sounds great.
That's all you can do.
Yeah, Craig Barr joining me here on the show, talking about his upcoming feature. So we'll see how that works out. All right, so Craig, let's go ahead and back it up to this past summer.
Sure.
Popeyes obviously releases this now famous or perhaps infamous chicken sandwich. Did you get a desire to try one of these? Pretty much like, I have to be honest, as a guy who hosts kind of a food-based show, more in the live fire sector, it was the whole Popeyes chicken thing somehow totally missed my radar. So by the time I got heat on it, it was, sold out everywhere. And I was just kind of, I was never on it to get off of it. I was just kind of missing it, the whole thing. Were you on it like right from the beginning and you were like, hey, I want to get one of these?
Okay, back in the first week of August, around August 7th through the 9th, Popeyes did a soft release of it at a Dixie something. And I was under the assumption that all the Popeyes were getting it. So I tried to chase it down locally. They didn't know nothing about it. So I did some more research, and that's when I found out it was just at a couple locations at Dixie something. And I let it go. But they also said that it did so well at this little Dixie store or something. They did like a 2 or 3 store trial run or something. It did so well that they were going to do a nationwide thing the week after. And that's when I started. I just want to get my hands on one. Why not? I'm a connoisseur for new things. I'm excited about food. So. They said, listen, they made a bold statement. They said it's better than Chick-fil-A. I mean, that's a bold statement to come out and say Chick-fil-A. And then when you've got to sneak in there, what are these fools crying about who's in second, So they kind of what they did was it was a great marketing strategy. I mean, they got they use the internet to really propel a marketing strategy because, I mean, people can't get their minds off this Popeye's chicken situation, I didn't really think a lawsuit was going to really turn this thing into super viral worldwide. Got people from Australia contacting me. It's just, wow, you wouldn't expect this kind of momentum to get behind something with such weak, to me, I thought it was weak subject matter. I mean, big deal, I was just mad I got, they had no chicken sandwich. And the worst was the one location. Now, the employees, they got to deal with this all day long. So, there's no handbook of, hey, what do you tell these people about the chicken sandwich? Because we don't know shit to tell you. So they got to make something up, I'm thinking. But you're taking it as if it's, it's got some substance. So they tell you, you got to go to Highway 58. They just got their truck, and that's your best bet. Okay, so you drive all the way down to Highway 58 location, and they're like, what are you talking about? No, Eastridge gets their truck before us, but, you got to come back Thursday. We might have some. And they just send you on this wild goose chase, and yeah, I didn't get my hands on one. I ain't gonna lie, I mean, it was easier back in 2001 to get my hands on a PlayStation 2, than it was to get his hands on a chicken sandwich. And then this guy with Craigslist, it seemed like a good little hustle, Either he works there or his cousin or something works there, but the truck came in and they grabbed a handful and they got them stacked in the freezer, hidden behind some biscuits or something, and that's gonna be their side money because they're trying to party this weekend. They're trying to make a little honest coin. Totally dealable. Meet me at the Popeyes. Okay, now it's really got to be legit. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to leave Popeyes with a chicken sandwich. Give the dude $24, because they say they got to pay for the sandwich straight up, so it's not, theft, food count, whatnot. I get it.
Right.
So it's $20 for his hustle. So he goes up into the Popeyes, and, me being a treasure-worthy type of guy, I'm just, here's the money up front, no antics, And 20 minutes goes by. I'm like, what's going on, So let me go in there and check this out, So I go up in there. And I'm like, hey, where's the guy with the dreads, with the blue shirt? You see, I know he came in here. Oh, yeah, I know. He used the bathroom, and he asked us for an ice water, and he went out that door there. And I'm like, oh, back door there. Great, there's another door.
Ugh.
Damn, I'm from New York, so I get the hustle,
Yeah.
I'm sitting outside door, on the right side door, and he sneaks out the left side door. And, who the hell knows how many times we pulled it off, But anyways, that, it's just there's little antics that came with it, I mean, our location is so bad. I told the attorney, how are you going to defend this parking lot? I mean, somebody could break their neck. It's horrible.
And this is where you crack a wheel in your custom Mercedes, right? Yeah, right.
Yeah, it's a rare AMG CLK. It's a mineral green. They only did it in two regions. Like you only get this color in California or South Florida. It was like a tropical green. It was really I'm a green. I like green, so I really like the color. So but it's got these Carlson rims, and they're very rare rims. And yeah, they got torn up on it. I had to drive home on the run flats. You know, God bless for having the run flat because I would have had 2 flat tires.
Yeah.
You know, and they're not cheap on the 19s, on the 19 run flats. So I mean, yeah, it's just $3,000-$4,000 worth of damage. That could have been prevented if they just, you know, kept the parking lot at least safe. I mean, you open your property up to do goods and services. You want to take my straw man's money for goods and services, but you guys provided to do it safely, and they failed to do it safely because, you know, my property is getting damaged, and you guys are lucky. God bless, a little kid didn't get hurt because I mean, those are sharp, jagged chunks, you know, right there on your land. There's no way to defend it. There's no defense. You get Johnny Cochran in there on trial. It don't matter how many lawyers you got because there's no defense for that. That's going to have any kind of substance. There's no lack subject matter for sure because how do you defend something like that? That's just complete negligence. Especially when you find out you get $65 million you reported off this chicken fiasco. You know, I mean, you got free advertising, didn't have to pay $1 for any advertising, and you got people making songs up on YouTube and every podcast, and it's just reaching worldwide. You know, super viral this thing went. And it's going to get real interesting, the relaunching the chicken sandwich. How coincidental they do that, make the relaunch, regenerate this whole thing right around the court date, you know?
Yeah, well, I mean, that's the thing. So
the media,
yesterday, this whole thing actually gets sent to trial. And I want you to clarify one thing, because if you go through and read some of the newspaper reporting through the Time-Free Press, it can read, depending on how you're reading it, that you're trying to take a run at Popeyes for a undersupply for a huge demand. And I think you had said something about having to take a stand against Big Chicken. But as we were talking, you were like, you know, it's really not so much about the chicken. I mean, you might have gotten caught up chasing around after it and taking some flack from your buddies and this and that. But it was more for the actual damage that you had suffered to your personal property, and that was more the impetus of filing the lawsuit versus just trying to take a run. No, not exactly?
Not exactly.
Okay.
It all has its own part. It all has its own substance that helps create the pie. You know, there's not only is there negligence on that level, but you know now they're creating more antics. You know how they do the chicken relaunch right around the court date. You know they're using my lawsuit. They're using me to generate more sales, and this is where it's going to get real interesting on the relaunch day, because I don't want to give away too much tonight, but on the relaunch day it's going to get real interesting, and it's going to take a different turn. It's going to come up to a different level, and you heard that here tonight first.
Oh.
And I don't want to let too much out the bag, but it's going to get real interesting on the relaunch day. Because, you know, on the 28th, they came out with the big release, you know, of the relaunch, and that was just coincidentally on the court date.
Yeah, well,
that was how this whole thing came back to life. So, I mean, a massive amount of money is being generated off my straw man, and it's going to get real interesting. I don't want to let too much out the bag tonight, but we're gonna amp it up one more time, and we're really going to drive in this chicken situation, because that's what everybody wants to talk about. The chicken, Popeye's chicken sandwich. Everybody's going crazy. Who runs out of chicken, though? I mean, who runs out of chicken? I could see if there was, like, you know, some mad cow disease type, you know, salmonella, like, you know, we lost millions of chicken farm, you know, something bad happened. I get it. But there ain't nothing going on. You know, everything's normal. There ain't been no outbreak, you know. Who runs out of chicken? I mean, who runs out of chicken? I mean, seriously. I mean...
So let me ask you this, Craig. I mean, you seem like a pretty reasonable guy. You say so. I mean, let me back up just for 1 second. Am I to understand through the conversation that as far as ranking chicken sandwiches, Chick-fil-A is your most favorite currently? Like, you think that's the best one?
It's our opinion. I think Chick-fil-A's got a really good sandwich.
Okay.
I got nothing negative to say about Chick-fil-A. You know, they're up there on my list of, you know, if somebody said, you know, you need a good chicken sandwich, you know, Chick-fil-A would definitely be a recommendation. I'm down with the Chick-fil-A.
All right, so
I like to be down with the Popeyes too, but I can't get my hands on one.
Yeah,
you know?
It's very hard to come by. So on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being the worst thing you've ever eaten, and 10 being the most magnificent thing you've ever put in your mouth. Where do you think, if you never get your hands on a Popeye's chicken sandwich, I mean, where do you think a fast food chicken sandwich is actually going to rate?
I can go 2 ways with you on this. You know, I could feed into this whole glorified chicken. I mean, you're in the chicken, right? You're in the barbecue, right?
Yeah, of course.
So,
so let me tell you something, Craig. I mean, for me,
I personally don't love fucking chicken. To be honest with you, I mean, I can honestly, it's not my favorite food to eat. To be honest with you.
So I mean, some people would find that weird that you're chasing around for a fried chicken, right?
Well, sometimes it's about principle. I knew this guy that spent $100 in gas to chase this guy down for $40. I mean, just sometimes, you know, people do when if they got a mission they want to accomplish, and once they got something in their head like Inception, you know, they have to carry it out. You know, you got to do it. You know, you follow through. You know, I mean, a lot of people could generate ideas they don't follow through, but you know, you got to follow through. You know.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of people are like, oh, it's ridiculous. You know, going down and filing against Popeyes. You know, a lot of people wouldn't have had the courage or even the knowledge to go down and how to put out a civil warrant against a straw man. You know. Well, I call him straw man. He's a company, he's an entity, because when you're talking about a person in this day and age, if you're talking about a human being, you have to make sure you clarify and say a natural person, because Black's Law Dictionary has been changed. I mean, we're under some kind of amorality law or something to where the straw man, if you notice IBM, Apple, it's in capital letters, right?
Yes.
Now look at your driver's license. You look at your credit card statements. This ain't no conspiracy theory. This is just what's in front of you. Just everything that's about you is in capital letters. But the only time you use the capital letters is when you're referring to a straw man, a company, a corporation, an entity. So now a corporation is a person. It's all legal court language. But a person is now a company or corporation. So if you want to talk about a human being, you have to say a natural person. And that's where those sovereign people, it gets a little weird out there. I don't, you know, they got their own beliefs. You know, that's fine. That's fine. I understand their point of view. I also understand the point of view of the law of the land too. So I mean, it's interesting things, but what are you going to do, right?
So Sunday is going to be the re-release of the chicken sandwich, and next week, according to you, and we're not going to get into any specifics, that things are going to ramp up on your end.
I got something that's going to be real interesting, and it's going to send the thing home. It's going to send the whole thing home, and it makes total sense. And I hope for the best of them. I pull into that Popeyes at 11 o'clock in the morning on that launch day. They better have a goddamn chicken sandwich.
You're right.
You know what I'm saying?
Well, if they have a chicken sandwich, does everything quickly go away or no?
I mean, is there a bookie out there? Is somebody taking spread on this? I mean, what's the over and under here? I mean, what's the line on the are they going to run out of chicken sandwiches? You know, by 2 o'clock on launch day.
Yeah, it's got to be 10-1 right now. I think is opening line. It's got to be 10-1 opening line. Yeah, right.
So it'd be interesting to see. You know, now I mean, how does this all work? I mean, it's a food distributor. I mean, like when you think about these food places, you know, that are all commercialized food that we're eating. It's made kind of like in a factory per se, you know. I mean,
it's made in a factory, not even per se. It's a factory.
Hand, but now all these commercialized carrabas, because I mean, I can make a better sauce than some of the stuff. I don't know. It's just the food out there has become real commercialized, and people have lowered their standards. People are on the go more, and there's just a lot of substance behind. A lot of different. How do you say it? The food's. I don't want to be a feminist, you know. It's getting real hard to stay positive in a negative world. I mean, you know, I wonder if the kids are safe at the schools, and you go to a movie theater without somebody. I mean, the world's gotten to a point where you almost don't even want to beat the horn of somebody because you don't know if they're going to jump out of the car and just go open fire upon you.
Absolutely.
Everybody's patience this is real stuff, you know, and we get so consumed in such the petty stuff, and people don't even realize what's really going around them in real life. I mean, you know the Earth's rotating, right? We're in orbit, the Earth's spinning, right? Do you know how fast that the Earth's rotating? Nobody really knows this, but we're moving about 980 miles per hour. That's how fast the Earth's rotating, 980 miles per hour. Now, it's a little faster down by the equator because the Earth bulges out. It's not like an even, anyway, it's flat in the middle, so they're going like 1,020 miles per hour. 1,020 miles per hour is how fast the Earth's rotating. Now, we're orbiting now. Now, we're going 67,000 miles per hour. So while we're rotating at 980 miles per hour, we're orbiting at 67,000 miles per hour. And those are real numbers based off, the powers that be, the government, the matrix, whatever you want to call it. Because I don't have a radar gun. I couldn't tell you we're moving that fast, but they say that's how fast we're moving. I can't even imagine 67,000 miles per hour. And that's when I just take a step back and I just, forget about the chicken sandwich. Forget about the Mercedes rims. It's all a fun and games. It's something to do. People need that little excitement, that little fad. That little excitement for a little while. That's what the chicken said. That's what it was about. It was a way of somebody getting involved with something. You had people making songs up. You had people out there doing podcasts. People were having a good laugh about it. Whether they were making fun of me, that asshole suing the Popeye people, whatever. But at least it took their mind off of just a lot of sadness and a lot of negativity that we have to face each day.
That's it.
It's just it's harder times out there. And you got to put more effort in to stay positive in a negative world. And it's easier said than done. Practice what you preach. I get all that, but it was just a way for us all to have some fun. The chicken sandwich.
It is a chicken sandwich.
I'm sure it's a good sandwich. I haven't personally had one.
Who would know?
I mean, my head's spinning. Literally, my head's spinning. There's always my little punchline when somebody gets drunk. My head's spinning. Yeah, mine too. 980 miles per hour. Anyways.
Well, Craig Barr
I'm excited for Popeyes with this chicken sandwich. I'd love to get my hands on one. I thought maybe they were going to go out of their way and make sure I got one. Because but no, they didn't.
Well, that's my question: is if it when you guys actually get to trial, if right before you go into the courtroom, the lawyer pulls you aside.
Go to trial.
No.
Oh, we've already been pulled aside. I was sitting right next to him in the courtroom.
Is it going to be chicken sandwiches for life? Is that what it's going to be?
They've had some fun with this. We're supposed to go on TV. The senior producer from CBS took all the time to draw this paperwork together and fax it and FedEx it to me overnight from LA and stuff and get us itineraries for flights. I mean, it was good. Popeyes agreed to come on the show and whatnot, and they really jerked them around. And my heart went out to, what was her name, Debbie Lampert out there. And they take a studio out there, and she was going to have us on the show, and we were going to have a good laugh about it. It was going to be a way for them to get some more publicity and keep it fresh on people's mind, because that's what generated $65 million in sales on the chicken sandwich.
Right.
And the relaunch is probably going to do it. So you're talking over $100 million.
Well, Craig Barr
that'll come on relaunch day. That'll come on relaunch day. But they use me to generate a lot of sales. And you don't mind if I take my taste now, do you, Popeyes? Since you guys wouldn't even want to man up, fix the parking lot, and pay me. So now I need a taste of the whole situation. That's where it's going to get interesting.
We'll see. We'll track. You use the show as your personal outlet, Craig, okay? I mean, I want you to keep in touch with us and make sure that if you feel like you need to float something out, you get it out there. Craig Barr is a champion of positivity, and we will see on relaunch what happens. Craig, I appreciate the time tonight, my friend. Thanks so much, and continued success.
Stay positive, love you, fam.
There we go. One love, y'all. One love. Keep it real up in the field, all right? Wow-wee. Wow-wee. We are eclipsing the top of the hour, so we're going to have to break away real quick, and then we'll come back in the second hour, and I'll recap at the top. Needless to say, a lot to unpack, and I have a lot to get to on my own top of the second hour that I wanted to run with. That was Craig Barr, If You Need Him. Things are in the works, my friends. Things are in the works. Stick around for the second hour. We'll be right back.
This is Dion Blumenrader with Big Hoss One Sauce, and you're listening to the best show on all things barbecue with my man, Greg Rempe.
Big name interviews, advice on cooking brisket and ribs, and the only host willing to share his honest opinion on all things important in the world of barbecue. It's the Barbecue Central Show.
Happy to have you aboard here for the really big barbecue show.
Boing. We cook because we have to, and we grill because we want to.
Hit me!
Fine, how's it going?
You have a great show. I'm a big fan.
Boing.
So what seems to be the problem here? This man looks like he's dead and he's in the crackle.
Charbono! It's all about the charbono, dude!
Succulent fish. What?
He ate 2 feet or wiener.
Oh, listen, Lavernius, shut your face.
I'm shaking like a dog shit peach seeds.
We have top men working on it right now. Top men.
All right, welcome back. This is the Barbecue Central Show, and we are in the second hour. It's a show that talks about barbecue and grilling items. From time to time, we get outside the box and talk about fast food trends. Heaven forbid that you are now just coming across the show and you missed the first hour. First of all, you missed a classic conversation with Travis Clark, one of the best competition barbecuers out there currently and, I will say, ever to light a fire. He won the Jack Daniel's World Barbecue Championship this past weekend. He is auto-qualified for the Jack Daniel's 5 years in a row. This was the year that he won it. I don't think there's any other team that is auto-qualified 5 years in a row. So that's a huge deal all on its own. He's also opening a restaurant that they're shooting in that 3, 4, 5 weeks. I mean, certainly I want to get down on when does that really happen, because we all heard Dr. Barbecue's trials and tribulations with getting that open, and we all heard how expensive Michael Simon's barbecue restaurant in Cleveland was here on the show to get to open. So 3 weeks could mean 3 weeks. 3 weeks could mean 3 months. We love to bet on things here on this show, but we'll let it slide. Hopefully it's 3 weeks. It sounds like it's really close, and it sounds like it gets really big and really awesome. So hopefully I will find my way out to Oklahoma City, which I've heard is a fabulous city. My brother loves Oklahoma City, and we'll eat some of Travis's barbecue and meet him in person, actually, for the first time. So that'd be fun to do on a number of different levels. Maybe do a recording out there as well. Why not? Then we talked with Craig Barr, who is currently and successfully taking Popeye's chicken to court. That case is going to trial, by the way. And while I could easily take the next 7.5 or 30 minutes to unpack what Craig was laying down last segment, I thought we were on a path of working through the Popeye stuff. wanted to build a little background, get a little buy-in from the audience. I didn't want to just put him on and immediately start grilling him about this Popeye stuff. Come to find out, he's a Tower 1 World Trade Center survivor. He is now in Chattanooga. He's a filmmaker. He's looking to shoot a film. And when I said, give me some idea what it's about, something happened. A switch flipped, and he went into what sounded like a monologue of the whole catch of the film. And maybe it was. And he has got it so memorized, and it's just so part of his psyche now. If somebody says, hey, what's the movie about? Boom, he goes right into character, and away he goes. Because for that 2-minute stretch, he was a whole different person. Then he came out of it. We talked about Popeyes. Things that were notable in that conversation were I was unclear whether it's a joke lawsuit or if he was serious, if it's a cash grab or if it's not, if he just wanted repair for the vehicle, but it sounds like he doesn't. And then at the end, what I can truly put my fingers into was some type of substance. While the release of the new Popeyes chicken sandwich is coming out on Sunday, he has a additional plan of attack that he is going to launch in a similar time fashion that is really going to shake the foundations of this whole suit between Craig Barr and Popeye's chicken. And I hope, Craig, if you're listening, I hope I've made it poignantly clear that while there may be other bigger, more broadcasty style networks, this is going to be the only show where you're going to be able to come on and have forum and be able to use any words that you want. You would have been either dumped or kicked off of any other radio interview because you swore. You probably know it's internet radio and there's no FCC regulation, but you don't want to go on radio. You want to be who you are. If a fuck or a shit comes out, I want that to be organic. I don't want you to have to be guarded. I think you felt pretty comfortable and you were just kind of running with it. Somehow we were talking about the Earth. I think there was a mention of something around 900 miles per hour. At one point, we were scooting around 17 or 1,600 miles an hour. There was negativity. There was positivity. I think Carrabba's doesn't make a really good pasta sauce. People are busy. The food isn't great. How does Popeyes run out of chicken when it's all being made at a factory and being distributed? Many points being made in that segment. Wow. So if you missed it, you have to go back starting tomorrow as the podcast is released into the feed. First hour tomorrow and second hour on Thursday. By the way, coming up here in the remainder of the show, Emily Detweiler from KCBS will be joining me in about 7 minutes. And Derek Riches from DerekRiches.com will be closing out the show 35 past. Don't forget, you can follow me socially at BBQ Central Show on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. Technically, it's /Facebook or /BBQ Central Show on Facebook. Coming up this week on the best moments of the Barbecue Central Show in 10 minutes or less, episode 96, October 29th, 2013 is where we visit, and there's lots of Thanksgiving talk in this episode. Meathead from AmazingRibs.com is there talking turkey. And if that isn't enough, Steven Reichlin, Barbecue Central Show guest Hall of Famer and Barbecue Hall of Famer, are both in. Again, he's talking more turkey, also some apples and Thanksgiving generalities talk as well. Make sure you're subscribed to the podcast. All right, so let me lead off with this, because it's probably all I'm going to get to. If you listened to the show last week, you heard my Texas embedded correspondent float out that Johnny Trigg might not have cooked the WFC IBCA portion of the contest, and that J.D. Henley from Buckshot Barbecue was the one that actually did the cooking. At that time, I didn't realize that Smoke and Triggers had won the IBCA portion of that whole World Food Championships contest, and once I learned that, a number of questions surfaced, and I started to really dig in and see if I could get some confirmation on who the actual cook for that team was. touched a number of teams and other insiders, all confirming that they were hearing similar rumor, but no one was able to give me 100% confirmation one way or the other. So this past Sunday, I reached out myself to J.D. Henley for clarification. Also, probably around the same time, my Texas embedded correspondent, Doug Scheiding, had also reached out to J.D. And Monday afternoon, we got the following statement, if you will, from J.D. And I'm just paraphrasing because I had talked to Doug on the phone. So it's not a written quote, but I'm paraphrasing. I helped Johnny cook that portion of the World Food Championships. And this is the most important part. It was not.
Andrew, you are not the father.
It was not a secret. It was not being kept on the down low as it was rumored. And he was there the entire time, that being JD. JD did not show up under the cover of darkness like late Thursday, as was also rumored. He was there from the beginning all the way through until the end. He was there to help Johnny. There were, I guess they were both cooking together. This is not, and again, I would like to state this is not an instance where somebody is passing off somebody else's work and getting the win and the glory. And prior to getting that statement, I talked to some other sources who had seen JD and Johnny cooking together at some other events this year as well. So now this seems to fit together, and we can just kind of leave this item alone. But here's what I can tell you. Well, this story winds up being nothing, and it had legs to be a pretty major event. Why? Because you potentially had a Hall of Fame pitmaster who's widely loved and known in the industry, not just by other cooks, but by the general public as well, in a spot where a contest was won and where he wasn't the one doing the cooking. And to me, that's a big deal on many levels. The good news is that it's cleared as nothing more than a misunderstanding. And that's why the show didn't recklessly start posting rumors and theory on social media or make special bonus content podcasts. And I certainly love controversy, but not at the expense of integrity. Here's the other thing I learned all the way through this. While reaching out to many sources, if you didn't know this already, The Godfather is one loved individual. Many people, and I mean many people, have his back, not only in this instance, but there are many folks out there who are keeping a watchful eye on the smoking triggers when they show up at contests, and not in a bad way, in a very supportive and friendly way, and that is great to see. Johnny is 81, still out there doing it. It's nice to see that other teams are out there supporting someone who has been such a great face for competition barbecue for decades. So again, just to be clear, J.D. Henley was in Johnny's camp, all well known, all disclosed, not a secret. Want to make sure that we are on the forefront of passing out that update to the story that was mentioned last week. There you go. All right, we have Emily Detweiler coming up out of the break. I'll talk to you quickly first about the Barbecue Guru, always believing that outdoor cooking should be fun, because it can be with the Monolith Guru Edition grill, world's first temperature-controlled smoker with a built-in power draft fan. This means smarter control and greater freedom with automatic temperature-control devices. Easily choose your cooking time and temperature. Let the Monolith do the work of a sous chef or a barbecue pitmaster. With minimal effort, you now have oven-like precision at the grill, and you can serve the tastiest, juiciest meals each and every time. As I mention each week, if you have a Barbecue Guru controller already and you buy the Monolith, you don't have to get a new controller. Just hook the controller up to the power draft fan, and away you go. If you have any questions, you call them 800-288-GURU. And if you have any questions, or if you want to peruse what they have on the website, bbqguru.com. That's bbqguru.com. The Barbecue Guru continues to be a breakthrough in barbecue technology. Wowee. All right, we're back with the KCBS CEO, Emily Detweiler. Stick around. We'll be right back.
the only show giving you a monthly visit from a doctor of barbecue, a man actually named Meathead, the author of a barbecue Bible, bloggers, reviewers, competitors, and manufacturers by the dozens. It's the Barbecue Central Show. Once again, here's your host, Greg Rempe.
All right, welcome back. The Smoke Sheet is a free weekly newsletter that keeps you in the know on everything happening in the barbecue world, including top news, events, recipes, and more. It started with Ryan Cooper and Sean Ludwig, and both of them travel around the country to find the best barbecue and then report on it. You can sign up for the newsletter and see the full events on their barbecue calendar at bbqnewsletter.com. That's bbqnewsletter.com, a great all-in-one weekly resource. Yeah, baby. My first guest of the second hour, the current CEO of the Kansas City Barbecue Society. If you were at the American Royal or most recently the Jack Daniels this past weekend, probably saw her there all day, every day, shaking hands, kissing babies, here to talk about the number of KCBS-related topics that we have on the docket this evening is friend of the show, Emily Detweiler. Hey, Emily.
Hey, Greg. How are you?
I'm absolutely fabulous. Appreciate you joining me this evening. Are you back home finally?
I am back home. Yep, just got the kids put to bed, so ready to talk barbecue.
All right, so first things first, since we did that great exclusive announcement of you taking over the reins as CEO at KCBS, there's been a number of really big, or what we would call major, competitions that have transpired. First of which, right in your backyard, was the American Royal. So how did you find the 2019 American Royal this year?
Yeah, absolutely. Just a couple of things going on since we last spoke in August.
Yeah, right.
So the American Royal World Series of Barbecue was absolutely fantastic. You know, it's interesting to go from how hot it was at that particular contest to how rainy and cool it was at the Jack this past weekend. So just definitely difference of weather there, but great experience overall. You know, the Royal is definitely one of my favorite contests every year. It's just so fun to see everybody come together. And you know, for me, it was a really different perspective this year because based on my past experience, I definitely have seen it more through the lens of the cook teams and the sponsors and the brands. So I certainly still had a chance to do that, but it was really fun to be able to also experience it through the lens of the judges and the reps and all of the volunteers that work just as tirelessly to bring it to life as do the teams. And you know, even seeing how far some of the judges and the reps come, you know, from across the country and actually from different countries to come, it's just as highly coveted on both sides of the equation. So it was really fun to experience it through that lens.
Emily Detweiler joining me here on the show. Do you think that the American Royal has found a permanent home at the Speedway, or is there still a potential of their moving in a year or two or something like that?
Good question. So based on the meetings that I've had with the Royal, with their leadership team, you know, it sounds like they're very interested in staying put. I think they, you know, every year continue to find some different things to fine tune, but overall feel like the partnership with the Kansas Speedway is a very good one, and that ultimately it's a great environment, particularly for the team. You know, I think each year they try to figure out how to make it a little bit more engaging for the consumer public. And we've had some dialogue about what can be done to help with, you know, very important issues like ADA and ongoing safety and things like that. But overall, I think the venue works really well. Obviously, always opportunities to fine tune. And certainly I've had a chance to pass on some different pieces of feedback that I've received from our membership to the Royal in terms of what can make things a little bit better. But, you know, they announced live at awards during the during the Open, the dates for 2020 will be September 16th through the 20th. So I think that's absolutely fantastic. You know, that was some of the feedback that we had provided to them, even 2 years ago, was to really try to get ahead of it because it impacts so many people, not just the teams and the judges, but, you know, again, as I'm really learning all facets of KCBS, I've started to learn just how much it affects other contest organizers and, teams across the country who maybe consistently have their contests on a specific date, and it might be tied in with a community festival. So, obviously when you have a contest that is as large and as prestigious as the American Royal and also as the Jack, anytime there's changes involved to date, that it really does have a ripple effect across the country and even across the world for our international teams. We're excited to know that they've announced.
When I was doing the show, 10 years ago or so, when it was still in the stockyard, I think I might have heard an attendance number that was in the mid sixes. I don't know if that's something that was verifiable or just a hopeful number that people were spitting out there, especially on the dark side of the tracks there. I think we were just sub 500 this year, if I'm not mistaken, in the Open. I mean, do you see a point in time where it reaches, I think that's bad English, where it achieves a similar capacity in 550 or 600 or more?
Well, I will say the good news is the numbers are trending back up, and I think that we all felt was fantastic news. So we got to 485 for the Open this year. And that was an increase, I believe, from last year. So that's exciting to see some of those numbers coming up. And I do think that with the early announcement this year for the 2020 dates, I think we'll see strong numbers there. The other thing I think will be in the favor of the American Royal is that they've moved yet one more weekend beyond Labor Day. So, Labor Day is always a tricky one. You can really talk about both sides of the equation, with some people saying, I like it because I already have that Monday off, so I have more time to take off work and go. But for other people, Labor Day might mean that they're doing something different. So, it's like I said, it could be both sides of the equation, but I think that as long as there is such advance notice in terms of the date, then I think they'll be in good standing for next year.
This past weekend, the Jack takes place. Travis Clark from Clark Crew wins it. I had him on in the first hour of the show, and he did something kind of magical. I mean, obviously he won it, which a lot of people that are in competition barbecue strive to win the Jack and the American Royal, or both if possible, during the course of a competition career. He goes 5 times in a row on the 7 wins auto qualifier. I mean, you've seen Travis for a number of years compete, from a different side, but now you're on the membership side of things. I mean, that's quite a feat that I don't know if a lot of people that are not following competition barbecue can really wrap their head around how important that is.
Yeah, it's really important, and I'm certainly excited for Clark Crew and their whole family, because especially with the opening of a new restaurant, it's exciting to have that kind of momentum. And honestly, it reminds me of some of the momentum that was really behind Blaine Hunter when he won the American Royal and then parlayed that into opening his new restaurant in Nebraska. So, those are some really good success stories that just make me so proud of these competition cooks that are able to take their successes in the field and turn it into a great opportunity for their livelihood and providing for their families. So really excited for Travis in this. And, obviously he's had some great wins along the way. He really has. But this is definitely one more extremely prestigious world championship win for him to have under his belt as he's getting ready to open that restaurant. So, really excited for him. It's funny because I saw them pull in when they got there, and I thought to myself, well, gosh, they must have had quite a haul, because, they didn't get there as early as some of the other teams. And, again, you just take that into consideration when you have such a strong competitor who's able to kind of come in, I don't mean to say last minute, but kind of not get there as early as some of the other teams who camp out 2 or 3 days in advance, and yet just come in, focus, get it done. So really, really happy for Travis and his family there, and also very excited for Scratch and Dent winning within Shade Tree. So it was great.
Now, here's the funny thing of that whole answer that you were just giving us. According to Travis, he showed up Thursday, which was easily a day more in advance than he's ever showed up for the Jack. It's usually like Friday night. So he was like laying out, had all this extra time. And like you're saying, a lot of other teams are there, 2 and 3 days in advance. So for him, it was like a vacation, I guess.
Well, then good. I'm glad he was feeling extra relaxed. But yeah, no, I talked to some teams who said they pulled in as early as, Tuesday night or Wednesday. So, it is kind of funny that Wednesday has really become the new Thursday for contests. But, the Jack is also, it's just so special. It's kind of one of those contests that you either love it or you kind of love it. But I think really for the most part, it just means history and it means something special. And so even if there's some little quirks and things like that, and obviously when it rains, it's kind of not so fun to walk around in the puddles and all of that. But, I think it's such an interesting event, and there's just so many special things that are done differently there, even from the 7 entry turn-ins to help represent the number 7 brand for Jack and things like that. I had a chance to really spend a lot of time on Saturday in the judging area and really had a chance to dive right in and volunteer and kind of shadow as a table captain with some great table captains judges from KCBS, and just to see the passion that's in there is unbelievable. And, I saw that at the American Royal as well, and it really is, I think, the story that goes untold, and that's just how hard these volunteers and these judges and reps work as well as the cook team. So, we actually did a little a fun little kind of back of a napkin analysis for the Jack, and by the time you count Marge's Mafia, Marge Plummer, and all of the, the contest rep hours and the volunteer hours and the judges, we figure that over the last 31 years, there's probably a minimum of 210,000 volunteer hours.
Wow.
So, that's pretty significant. And the people that do this do it because they love it. Just like the teams, it means so much to either make it in auto invite or, to have your bung drawn. It just means so much to come to that contest. So it was really interesting and fun to be there in that regard. And I certainly enjoyed. I got to help Remus Powers and the crew hand out the hickory nuts. And that was just so special, for the tradition that means to the team. So really fun.
Emily Detweiler joining us here on the show, CEO KCBS, the website, by the way, kcbs.us. Emily, as you are kind of getting into day-to-day ops there, are you seeing any new visions for the KCBS that perhaps you didn't initially think about or that have just kind of availed themselves to you as you're working your way through what's been left?
Yeah, I'm still trying to figure out some of the key things that we need to do differently as we move forward. But, one of the biggest things that I see is that we really need to draw in younger audience. And that can be really both on the side of contests, whether that's backyard or more, grilling type competitor series types of things. While not alienating, obviously, the existing base of the Master Series, that's got to continue to stay strong. But, when I look at the membership base and really dig into the numbers, that's definitely something that I see is that we've got to focus more on younger audiences and getting them inspired. So, I've got a lot of different thoughts and ideas in terms of how we can do that, but that's one of the biggest things that I see in terms of future growth. Obviously I know that there are all kinds of different issues that we've got to solve, whether that's through, updating training for judges, reps, et cetera. And those are definitely ongoing things that we will continue to do. We're going through our next election nomination cycle right now, so that's exciting. Seeing some really great candidates as nominees, so that's also exciting. It's an interesting, type of a board in the sense that, today we really don't have anything where you have to have a specific area of emphasis, like some boards where you might have to have an IT background, or you might need somebody who's got a legal background or a marketing background. So, that presents some interesting challenges, but opportunities. And so anyway, I say that because as I'm seeing the nominations come in, I'm really seeing some strength there and looking forward to what that holds for us. So I really do believe that the future for KCBS is bright. And, obviously we've got a Tony'd history and a great brand that we've established over time. So it's exciting to put some energy into it to really help propel it into the future.
One of the items that everybody looks forward to that's KCBS members, especially the cook teams, is that end-of-year KCBS banquet that typically takes place in January. How are those things coming together?
They're coming together great. So let me just say that the banquet is January 17th and 18th, and this year it will be in Kansas City at the Argosy Casino, which is also where it happened to be last year as well. So we've got a couple of great things. I would encourage listeners to go on to kcbs.us to register for the banquet. So also, we're currently accepting nominations for both the Carolyn Wells Ambassador Award, which is really all about those who display strong character and promote KCBS as an organization to the general public. And then also the Gary Wells Sportsmanship Award, and that one is really more focused on those who display great sportsmanship at our events and contests and really have a spirit of fairness and generosity and observance of the rules. So those are some great awards that we would certainly encourage all KCBS members in good standing to nominate for, and those nominations need to be in by December 1st. So again, there's still some time if people want to nominate some of their friends and fellow members, so I would encourage them to do that. The other thing that I'm really excited to share with you is our Team of the Year prize payout. So we've actually just announced that, and it went on to the website either yesterday or today. It's up there. I've seen it, and it will go out in our next edition of the Bull Sheet that Karen Murphy has worked really hard on. So anyway, we are excited to share that our prize pool for the 2019 payouts is going to be a little bit over $26,000, coming in at $26,425. So we're excited about that, and we wanted to be more transparent with the membership, let them know those amounts, and really the breakouts of how all of that breaks down prior to the banquet. So again, that is posted on kcbs.us, so I would encourage listeners to go out and look at that. The other thing that's exciting for our Team of the Year payouts in 2019 is that we recognize, that there are those cooks who maybe can't do the long haul like Boomerang can, and get that many contests to make it into the top, position. So we've decided that we are going to recognize some of the cook teams who are doing well in the smaller number of contest cooks this year. So we've actually dedicated a little over $1,000 and broken that out. Again, you can see all of the breakouts specifically on the website, but for cooks who've cooked less than 25 contests, less than 20, less than 15, less than 10, and even less than 5. So the first place winners within those specific demarcations will have a chance to win some prize money too. So we're really excited about that. And, as we look forward to next year and beyond, obviously we will try to always increase our prize payouts where we can. But again, we wanted to provide as much transparency as possible to share those numbers as soon as they were approved.
Emily, is there a 2020 backyard Team of the Year thing that's in development or something that's going to happen?
Great question. So not ready to announce anything yet, but I'm definitely in the process of really trying to understand feedback, thoughts. Again, this goes back to my earlier point about trying to draw in a younger audience. And so, we definitely recognize that we do have strength in backyard, and we're certainly seeing increases. Contest numbers are coming in very strong for 2020, and backyard is one of the areas of growth that we're seeing. So, as you may or may not know, I'm a numbers person, so I tried to dig in as much as I can.
I've heard that, actually.
And some people like it, some people don't, but can't please everybody. But anyway, no, backyard is one of the areas that we definitely do see some great opportunities for the future. So I am working through what that could look like. We have actually tapped some of our some of our backyard participants to help provide feedback via survey to help understand what they liked, what they didn't like, what would encourage them to cook more backyard contests, things like that. So as I get more of that data and I'm able to leverage it to make some good insights, we'll be making some recommendations in terms of what that looks like moving forward. And if we were to do a Team of the Year program, how we could really establish one that makes the most sense and is the most fair, because as you may or may not know, some of our backyard contests, they all require chicken and ribs, but some also have other categories like pork or additional ancillaries. So again, we need to make sure that we're leveling the playing field if we're going to have a Team of the Year program. So I'm working through some of the details on how to do that.
All right, that sounds absolutely fantastic. CEO of KCBS, Emily Detweiler, joining me. Some important dates that were mentioned here this evening. September 16th through the 20th, that's 2020, is the American Royal. It's already set. And then the banquet for KCBS is January 17th and 18th in Kansas City at the Argosy Casino. I believe I have that right. KCBS.us for all other inquiries and information, correct?
That's correct.
All right. It is Emily Detweiler. Appreciate you coming back on tonight, and let's do it again sooner than later.
That sounds fantastic. As always, thank you so much for having me, Greg.
You got it. Thanks for coming on. There she is, the CEO of KCBS, Emily Detweiler. And yes, if you're just new, that is the same Emily Detweiler that was at Smithfield handful of months ago. She transitioned over into leadership at the KCBS. So nice to have a little more two-way street, if you will, with KCBS again. We were dormant for a couple of years, to say the least. And now we're starting to get back on track, and would always welcome conversations with any sanctioning bodies, of course. So by the way, she was talking about nominations for board. If you are somebody that has taken a nomination or you're running for the board for next year and you would like to come on the show and give platform, just go ahead and shoot me an email, greg@thebbqcentralshow.com, and I'll make sure that I get you on and we'll give you forum to say your piece. You're welcome. Let me talk to you about Big Papa Smokers, my pal Sterling Ball. Curated selection of only the best outdoor cooking supplies. Get you on the path to better barbecue results in no time. Everything at Big Papa's has been pitmaster approved by Sterling himself. From award-winning rubs and sauces to American-made grills and smokers, they have everything you need to become a better outdoor cook. They have great rubs and spices, sweet money, regular money, cattle prod, cash cow, double secret steak rub, Sweet Louis seasoned salt. The list goes on. I love them all. 13 perfectly balanced flavors, actually, that will transform ordinary meals into extraordinary. Then whether you're cooking to impress the judges or grilling for your friends and family, Big Papa Smokers seasonings just don't disappoint. You can also pair them with simply marvelous barbecue rubs, and now you have the West Coast offense. Don't forget, if you're looking for a new go-to barbecue sauce, if you're tired with whatever you're using, they also own and sell Granny's barbecue sauce. Go to BigPapaSmokers.com and try some today. Now, let's talk about cooking. Maybe you're looking for a versatile smoker that's easy to use. Check out the Mac 2-Star General Pellet Grill. Meathead uses one. Darren Wharf uses one. Big Papa uses one. He's the exclusive Mac dealer, and they even offer special packages. If you're not a fan of pellet smokers, take a look at the Old Hickory Ace BP. It happens to be the only charcoal smoker that Big Papa trusts on his own competition trailer. Plenty to choose from on there. If you have a ugly drum and you're waiting to convert it, he has a conversion kit. A number of items. You got to go check it out. If you're not sure what grill you need, call him and ask. 877-828-0727. That's 877-828-0727. Or shop the website, BigPapaSmokers.com. That's BIGPOPPA Smokers.com. We are back with Derek Riches right after this. Stick around.
Continuing to produce incredibly mediocre content in an exceptionally professional way. You're listening and watching the BBQ Central Show. Once again, here's your host, Greg Rampey.
Thanks again to Emily Detweiler for joining me last segment. This portion of the show being brought to you by Smithfield. This coming month in November, towards the end, the 24 teams will line up and compete, cooking 3 different times, ultimately producing a group of final contenders that will go at it. Where are they going at it? New Orleans, of course. Check them out on the line at smokingwithsmithfield.com. That's SMOKIN. Smokingwithsmithfield.com for all further information. Helping me close it out tonight, the most trusted source in barbecue and grilling industry, also happens to be a Barbecue Central Show guest Hall of Famer. What more can you ask for? You can check him out on his website, DerekRiches.com. Let's head to the website, or let's head to the hotline, and welcome back, Derek Riches. Hey, Derek.
Hey, Greg. How you doing?
Did you know that the Earth spins at 968 miles an hour?
I know.
You
makes
knew?
you dizzy.
You knew that? I didn't know that.
Something like that. Okay, not exactly, but
Well,
something.
And evidently something else is spinning, and there's a top speed in tandem of close to 1,700 miles an hour. What do you think about this Popeye's chicken sandwich? You tell me. I mean, you're a.
I've never had one.
Never.
So
You didn't get caught up in the hype this summer.
Well, there didn't used to be a Popeyes by where I lived, and so the only time I ever ate Popeyes chicken is if I had a layover in Atlanta Airport.
Uh-huh.
So that became a tradition for me. And then they built one. It's like 5 minutes from my house, and I've never been there.
Now it's too close, so you can't go.
Yeah, I think that's the problem.
Well, Sunday, they re-release the Popeyes chicken sandwich. So put it in your phone so you can show up on Sunday, and then we can compare notes next month when we get together.
Yes.
Let's talk a little bit about where you are doing work at. I mentioned DerekRiches.com. Are you on any other internet property at this point, or are you solely DerekRiches.com?
Solely there right now.
Okay.
I mean, if somebody wants to pay me, they can just contact me.
Yeah. Contract.
Go to the website. There's a form. Fill it out.
There you go.
We'll talk money.
All right.
But other than some stuff in the industry that I'm not really writing for anyone else.
Got it. One of the things that we're talking about tonight, and I just seen it released into social media, was quite a little buildup that they had. It was the Masterbuilt Gravity Series 560. This is a charcoal gravity feed that doesn't have the name Stumps or Superior on it. So what can you tell me about it?
Well, basically what this is, it looks a lot like a pellet grill. It's got a large, tall body. It's got 3 racks on the inside. It's got a side table with a controller in it, and then it has this charcoal column that runs down the side. Throw in some lighter cubes, dump in a bunch of charcoal, and then you set your temperature. And it's Wi-Fi enabled, so what you have is a charcoal grill that is just like a pellet grill. I mean, it has the same sort of functionality. They have their own proprietary app. You've got 4 meat probes in there. It looks interesting. Runs about $500, but it's this idea of trying to make a charcoal grill that is as convenient as a pellet grill. Well, so it's there's that influence going on.
I was going to say, I mean, that has to be the next follow-up question is, for years it would seem to be only one kind of pellet cooker, or there was a Traeger, then whatever Fast Eddie was making at the time. And then after the patent goes away, and then all of a sudden you see the onslaught of pellet cookers coming into the industry over the last handful of years. I mean, do you think, even though the pellet industry, as far as attacking the market, is still a fairly minimal percentage versus overall sales, do you think that they are having an influence on the way other manufacturers are making cookers to a certain degree?
Well, I think that a lot of companies are looking at that convenience factor. I mean, Masterbuilt makes pellet cookers. I mean, they've got some pellet smokers and some stuff like that. It's not like they're not in that side of the business, but this notion that now we need to make our charcoal grills as convenient and Wi-Fi enabled. That's the thing about it. This unit has a fan that accelerates the combustion, so you can set it for 225 to 700 degrees. And that's the other thing is this charcoal is a much more powerful fuel, so you can get higher temperatures out of this. And this unit will take lump or briquette, so it doesn't matter what kind of charcoal you use.
Do you have any idea how accurate the whole setting the temperature thing is? I'm fairly versed at the pellet cookers, and the majority of them are in range depending on how you set them on the controller. But for some reason, the Masterbuilt to me is like a good idea, but how is it actually performing under fire?
Well, I mean, it's not shipping yet. So
we won't know.
We really got to get in there and see what it's going to do. Right. I'm reaching out to them to try and get one in as soon as I can. But I mean, you're absolutely right. A lot of pellet cookers, it's like, it looks like it's a very precise instrument, and then you realize it's got a 40-degree temperature variance depending upon which way the wind's blowing. Mm-hmm. So there's an illusion of precision more than there's actual precision. But we like the technology, we like the apps.
Well, that's the question that I want to ask you that I didn't even think I wanted to ask you. Do we really want the apps, or do we want them on there so we don't use them?
But look, it's become a selling point. How usable your app is and how advanced your technology is.
But if you poll 50 people, if you poll 50 people that have a cooker with Wi-Fi enabled whatever, and an app that goes along with it, do you think that 40% of them are actually using all of that stuff, or is it more or less than that?
Yeah, I think it's a lot less than that.
Wow.
But it's the selling point.
So manufacturers feel weight that they have to include this, otherwise perhaps they won't even be considered in a purchase?
I think that's a big component to it. I mean, we live in the age of incredibly powerful and advanced little computer devices that we carry in our pockets, and if you can't figure out a way to plug into that, how are you going to get millennials to buy something?
I don't know. I mean, they don't seem to be interested in competing in barbecue or anything else. I mean, if you're 40 or older, I mean, we're probably the young guys right now, Derek, in the industry.
I'll take that.
Yeah,
I'll take that.
It's crazy. I've often struggled, and I've had some fairly high-level talks with top men in the pellet grill industry, no names, please. And I've said, just leave that shit off. It appears that there is a demand for it, but when you actually put it in your house, I don't think people are giving it a second thought. Maybe the internal meat probe, but God, I mean, I just don't see where people are digging for their phone every 5 seconds. And I'm sure there's some percentage of folks that are going to sit there and just hover with the phone right in front of their face. They're the same tools that were with the Maverick ET-73 looking at the receiver when it was kicking back temperatures, and if it would go up, they'd race right out to the Upper Smoky Mountain and make damper adjustments. I mean, you're going to have those people. But I think by and large, I think I've said, please, just leave it off and see. And they felt compelled that they had to put it on just so they could still be considered an option. And I think that's unfortunate because you could be driving some costs down. Maybe not a lot, but you could be driving some costs down.
Well, you could also be putting your research and development into making a better cooker than making a better app.
Right.
But
right.
It's kind of the world we live in, and it's it's being driven by a couple of companies who have big R&D budgets.
We diverged off of the Masterbuilt there for a second, but do you know when this might be shipping out to consumers?
They're a little vague on that, and I'm wondering how the supply chain is going, but I think we're looking early next year, really. Might be available in some locations before the end of the year, but I think it's largely, they're hyping it like crazy, but it's could still be a couple months away.
Are you bullish on this? Just from a high level? Yeah.
I'm interested from the standpoint of kind of what it represents, but, I'd say 4 out of 5 times I fire up a charcoal grill, it's either my Weber kettle or it's a Kamado. It's my Big Green Egg, I mean, and I don't actually have any blowers or any of that sort of stuff on there. I have never found a need for it.
Yeah, because you learned your cooker.
Yeah.
Oh, boy, I'm getting into my old man rant.
Well, yeah, and I agree with you completely. I sound a lot of times when I'm complaining about this, it's like, you kids, but maybe what we're doing is shortening the learning curve if we can just kind of get off the crutch of an app that tells you you've got barbecue.
Right. Derek Rich is joining me here on the show, DerekRiches.com, his website, if you want to check out what he's writing about here recently. Let's talk a little bit about that Weber pellet grill that we talked about last month. Any updates that you've heard or like release or anything like that?
What I'm getting right now is a formal announcement will be in the first half of November, and I've talked to some retailers who expect to have it on the floor in January.
Oh, wow.
So, and as far as technology goes, this one will, if you buy the additional accessory, the $125 accessory that goes with it, it'll talk to your Alexa.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So you can say, Alexa, do something with my Weber. Yeah. Nice.
That's exactly it.
All right. $125. I mean, that seems like it's not too expensive, I guess.
Well, on top of the $1,000 or $1,200 you're paying for the unit.
All right. Do we have that as kind of a confirmed price point-ish?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
That is the price we have confirmed now.
So there's been a couple different lawsuits that have been thrown around here, both actually involved one of the same company, that being Traeger Grills. Traeger was suing Danson's, of course, because there was a lot of likeness and there was some name stuff. Do you have any idea where this is sitting at currently? The last I heard, it was, there was a lot of Danson saying we vehemently deny everything, and Traeger was like, yeah, deny all you want, but we've paid you $9 million and you're doing a lot of weird stuff.
Yeah, and that's kind of where it sits. The lawsuit is taking place in both Florida and Arizona. I'm assuming it's Danson's must be incorporated in Florida or something like that. On October 2nd, the judge in Florida rejected Traeger's injunction on to stop using the name on the grounds that Traeger had not presented proof of their purchase of the name. They didn't say Danson's was free and clear to use it. They just said Traeger hadn't proven that they owned it. Danson's issued a press release the next morning declaring absolute vindication that they had won. The next day, the Arizona judge upheld Traeger's injunction and has now stopped Danson from using the name Traeger or any associated imagery or anything of the sort.
No barn, no nothing.
Right, none of that. And right now, this line from Danson seems to have kind of once again fallen into we don't know when it's going to be available because we don't know how we're going to market it. But Danson's is saying that they're going to win, and they're not. They're going to lose.
Do you think that they're going to end up settling and somebody's going to be paying somebody a fee or something?
Yeah, and I don't know that Traeger is interested in the money. So if Danson's wants to try and get them to say, hey, we'll pay you X amount of money and we'll still use Joe Traeger as kind of our guy, I can't see Traeger coming back and going, yeah, we need your money.
That's the last thing that they probably need.
Yeah. Traeger is exceptionally good at burning through every dime they get their hands on.
Yeah.
But I don't think they need money at this point.
Now, the other thing that they're involved in, and we always seem to be talking about fuel in some form or fashion when it's really the good stuff. Traeger is under a class action lawsuit in very quick terms for not using. Well, the suit is that they're not using what they're saying they're using on their pellet packaging. For instance, apple pellets or cherry pellets. It's actually oak and alder, and they've been soaked in an apple oil or in cherry oil or what have you in order to give it its flavor. And now there's this whole lawsuit that's going on. I found it particularly entertaining that there were two people on some internet show that had really no idea about barbecue, kind of saying that Traeger was like racing to the game, as a Johnny-come-lately, and they had no idea who they were. But, I mean, let's talk about the bottom line here. I mean, is this a valid lawsuit? Is this the propane people trolling to try and gain back some market here? I mean, what's the deal?
I don't think that this is being driven by the propane industry. Grills are the fuel we use in our grills is a tiny portion of the propane that's used in the country, but I haven't actually been able to kind of really track down where this is necessarily coming from. It's filed by a couple of internet lawyers, by a guy in Livermore, California, who appears to work for the Livermore National Laboratory there. The lawsuit itself is almost written a little bit tongue-in-cheek. It's almost kind of, I mean, you know, as far as lawyers go, it's almost a bit funny in places. It's like I don't know how serious this is. I don't think it's in any way legally damaging to Traeger, because Traeger, yeah, you get this bag of Traeger pellets and it says hickory in big words, and then it says 100% hardwood. And then it doesn't say that it's hickory wood. It just says it's hardwood. And on their website, you know, they talk about they make their own pellets and they're in control of their sourcing, and that they use canola oil as a lubricant in the pellet making process that no one else seems to need the lubricant for. And that sometimes this lubricant, this canola oil, all natural product, may contain all natural colors or flavorings. So they're not, I mean, they're not coming right out and saying it, but they're not saying that their hickory is hickory.
Right. They're not putting it right on the packages that, you know, this is hickory flavored oil on your hardwood pellet.
Yeah. The lawsuit itself is very specific in some areas. It's like there is no hickory used. There is no mesquite used whatsoever by Traeger. The apple is maybe 30% apple. You know, they have very specific kind of measurements. So they got that from somewhere. It's not the sort of thing you can actually just look up. They had to find that information from someone. I'm not entirely certain who at this point, but it's really a bad PR thing for Traeger to be sitting there. All of their marketing is about real wood flavor, and you know, you throw out your gas grill because you don't want propane flavor, you want real wood flavor.
Tastes like gas.
Yeah, it does taste like you know, and you got to watch it because, you know, California propane has a really kind of acidic. You gotta
gas?
get kind of more Midwest propane.
Yes.
You know, there's
less
of
an ass taste.
Yeah. So they do all this marketing trying to say that they've got, you know, it's all about the flavor. It's all about the wood. And then it's like, well, yeah, but all of our wood is basically the same wood. It's just flavored differently and put in different colored bags. And then you get into their blends, which is kind of crazy because we blend all of these things together, but we don't use any of those things. We just add the flavor to it. But let's be honest, Traeger's not the only one.
Well, I mean, that was my next question. Is this a common practice? And perhaps more importantly, is there any way that this particular lawsuit gets any traction to where you'll see some kind of an industry standard packaging requirement or a federally mandated, if you are going to do this needs to be called out on the packaging so the consumer is made aware of what they're actually buying? Or does the consumer not even give an F?
Honestly, I think a lot of people don't care.
Yeah.
You know, and they don't know, and they won't notice. And it's like, I mean, you know, I've cooked for people before, and, you know, and tried to actually point out that there's a smoke flavor, what it is, that there's actually a distinct difference between apple or hickory or oak or that sort of stuff. And a lot of people just don't get it.
Yeah.
But I would love to actually see this case go somewhere. I don't see it will. Traeger's put in they put in a continuance. They want to hold off till they can get a response. And I think the response is going to be summary dismissal. And they're going to come back and say, we never said that our hickory was hickory. We never said our mesquite was mesquite. It's not on any of our documentation. Right. So this is a bogus lawsuit. And they might get it dismissed on that. An industry standard would be great, but we don't eat wood pellets. So there isn't a government agency that cares a whole lot about what actually goes in them. But I was looking, I found the product description on a German website for Weber's forthcoming wood pellets. And they have hickory, and it says hickory, 100% hardwood, hickory flavored hardwood wood pellets.
Hickory flavored. So,
yeah, they're
same thing.
Literally saying it's flavored.
Right.
And, you know, unless somebody comes out and says it's that it is 100% of this specific wood, and they're willing to back that up, you just can't trust it. I mean, if it says 100% hardwood, and hardwood has there's no definition here for hardwood. There's no legal definition. You can use any wood you want, doesn't really matter, because you can't get in trouble for using alder versus oak or using balsa wood versus hickory, whatever, it doesn't matter. So I'd love to see it actually go somewhere and have a court come down and say, well, you know what? You're actually going to have to label this stuff because it's consumable. People are buying it with the assumption that it is what it is. Right. But I don't see it happening.
All right. Well, if there's going to be breaking news, we know where to go. DerekRiches.com, who will report all that is going on in the live fire barbecue and grilling industry. Should we leave with the major announcement that we have for 2020, Derek?
Certainly. Be my guest.
A Barbecue Central Show exclusive news update.
As always, breaking news right here on the Barbecue Central Show. From the breaking news desk here in Cleveland, Ohio, Derek Riches and I will be doing a monthly visit starting in 2020, fourth Tuesday of the month. So you will be leading into what will be the second hour of the embedded correspondence. So it'll be a news-filled fourth week of the month. So I appreciate you coming back on.
Certainly. Glad to do it.
All right. Well, we will try and chart up again next month. But notwithstanding that, 2020 will be a year where Derek Riches and the Barbecue Central Show rejoin forces and burn down the live fire barbecue and grilling world. Derek, always appreciate the time, my friend.
Yeah. Thank you, Greg. Thanks for having me on.
There he is. Derek Riches. And yes, you heard it here first. He will be on this show. Did I stop all that? I'm just waiting to figure out how I don't understand. My software automation stuff completely messed up, and it's not going anywhere.
This is Dino Dan.
There's Dino Dan.
Cypress, California.
Dino Dan,
and
right.
You're watching the Barbecue Central Show.
All right. All right, so that was Derek Riches. I think we both agree that we would love to see labeling on pellets. I think we both agree also that that's probably not going to happen. As long as it's not heating pellets, technically, I guess I don't even care, but it's got to be food-grade pellets. I don't want heating pellets being strewn into my hickory-flavored or my apple-flavored pellets. And by the way, if you're a pellet manufacturer that is making flavored pellets with oil, and that's what you think is the right thing to do, get on top of the roof and yell it out. This is how we think it should be done. We will do it this way from now on. Do that. I want to hear that. Don't be shady about it. That makes me feel uncomfortable. But if you're out there screaming it from the rooftops, I feel better about that for some reason. All right, DerekRiches.com. That's DerekRiches.com. And in 2020, he is at the 9:35 segment, fourth Tuesday of the month. We're back to wrap right after this.
Whole packers, full racks, legs and thighs, injecting butts. If you've never heard this before, you might think you found the best XXX show ever. Let's get back to the most homoerotic host out there today, Greg Rempe.
All right, welcome back. As we get ready to wrap up another show here, all the way back in the first hour, we talked with Travis Clark, pitmaster of Clark Crew Barbecue. He just won the 2019 Jack Daniels, by the way. He was a 5-time in a row auto qualifier. Huge feat. As he said, He actually finds more pride in that accomplishment than actually winning the Jack. No disrespect to the Jack. Peace and love. Peace and love. Then, first timer of the show, and a man who was personally taking Popeye's chicken to court over the chicken sando incident of 2019 earlier this summer. Craig Barr showed up. And you're going to have to go back and listen to that if you missed it. In the second hour, we talked with Emily Detweiler, CEO of KCBS, the website there, kcbs.us. September 16th through the 20th in 2020, that's your American Royal confirmed dates. Also, January 17th and 18th of 2020, KCBS Banquet will be held in Kansas City at the Argosy Casino, so book it up. Again, kcbs.us. We close it out with DerekRiches.com. Talked about the new Masterbuilt Gravity Series 560. Talked about the Traeger lawsuit against Danson and where that's sitting. Derek believes Danson is going to lose and lose. And we also talked about Traeger getting a class action suit filed against them for not being necessarily upfront about what they're using in their pellets, let's say. Oil, not oil, is it not? You tell me. He's going to be on the fourth Tuesday of every month in the 9:35 segment going forward in 2020. Derek Riches, DerekRiches.com. Big show planned for you next week. Malcolm Reed will be back in. We might see a Sam the Cooking Guy appearance. And who knows what else after that. September 11th, 2001. I will never forget. Until next Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern. This is your program hosted, proud U.S. American Greg Reppy. Good night now.